Some infinities are larger than other infinities. This is not a figure of speech. It is not a philosophical opinion. It is a mathematical theorem, proven, verified. And for the mathematician who proved it, it nearly destroyed his life. This is the story of infinity. When you were very young, you learned to count. 1, 2, 3. The natural numbers. They go on forever. After any number you name, there is always another one. Always a larger one. The sequence never ends. Mathematicians call this infinity. They give it a name. Aleph null. It is the smallest infinity, the infinity of counting, and it is just the beginning. Humans have wrestled with infinity for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks were terrified of it. Aristotle declared that actual infinity could not exist. Only potential infinity was permitted. For 2,000 years, that was the consensus. Infinity was a direction, not a destination, not something you could study and measure. Then, in 1874, everything changed. Georg Cantor was a German mathematician, born in 1845. A quiet, religious man who believed that mathematics was the language of God. He set out to do something no mathematician had seriously attempted. He decided to treat infinity as a mathematical object, to count infinite sets, to compare their sizes, to ask whether one infinite collection could be larger than another. His colleagues thought he had lost his mind. His mentor, Leopold Kronecker, called Cantor's work a corruption of mathematics, a grave disease infecting the discipline. He was spectacularly wrong. The establishment attacked Cantor from every direction. Henri Poincaré, one of the most celebrated mathematicians of the age, called set theory a grave disease from which mathematics would one day recover. Cantor was denied professorships. His papers were rejected. His ideas were ridiculed in the very journals where they should have been celebrated. He kept working anyway. The pressure eventually broke him. Cantor suffered several mental breakdowns over the course of his life. He spent significant time in sanatoriums. He died in one in 1918, aged 72. He did not live to see himself fully vindicated. But the mathematics he left behind was correct, and it was extraordinary. David Hilbert, the greatest mathematician of the next generation, called Cantor's work the finest product of mathematical genius. To understand what Cantor discovered, imagine a hotel. Not just any hotel, an infinite hotel. It has infinitely many rooms. Room 1, room 2, room 3, and so on, forever. Every room is occupied. Now a new guest arrives at the front desk. A normal hotel manager would say, "Sorry, we are full." But the manager of the infinite hotel says, "No problem." He makes an announcement. He asks every current guest to move one room to the right. Room 1 moves to room 2. Room 2 moves to room 3. Room 3 moves to room 4. Every guest moves. Every guest still has a room. And room 1 is now empty. The new guest checks in. A hotel with no empty rooms just made room for a new guest. This is what infinity does. Now imagine something stranger. An infinite number of new guests arrives. Every room is already occupied. The manager asks every current guest to move to the room with double their current number. Room 1 moves to room 2. Room 2 moves to room 4. Room 3 moves to room 6. All the odd-numbered rooms are now free. Infinitely many rooms for infinitely many new guests. Infinity plus infinity equals infinity. The natural numbers and the even numbers are the same size of infinity, even though one seems to be half the other. Now push it further. Infinitely many buses arrive. Each bus contains infinitely many passengers. Infinity times infinity, and the manager still fits them all in. Using a clever mathematical scheme, every single passenger from every single bus gets a unique room. But then, one final arrival. A single bus, carrying passengers whose seat numbers are every real number between 0 and 1, every decimal, every possible sequence of digits, infinitely many. The manager stares at the list. For the first time, he cannot fit them all in. This infinity is different. Here is the key distinction Cantor made. The natural numbers are countably infinite. You can list them in order. If someone names any natural number, I can tell you exactly where it appears in the list. The real numbers are different. The real numbers include every possible decimal, every fraction, every irrational number like pi. Between 0 and 1 alone, there are infinitely many real numbers. And Cantor proved that this infinity cannot be listed, cannot be counted. It is a strictly larger infinity. Here is Cantor's proof. You can follow every step. Suppose someone claims they have listed all the real numbers between 0 and 1, every single real number, in an infinite numbered list. Row 1 is some number, say 0.141599265. Row 2 is another, say 0.71828182. Row 3, say 0.5772156. Row 4, say 0.302888421. The list continues forever. They claim it is complete. Cantor said, I can prove that claim is false, not by finding a number you forgot, by constructing one, building a new real number guaranteed to be missing from your list, no matter what your list contains. Here is how he did it. Look at the first digit of the first number. In our example, 1. Change it. Make it 2. That is the first digit of Cantor's new number. Now look at the second digit of the second number. 1 again. Change it. Say 2. Second digit of the new number. 2. Third digit of the third number. 7. Change it. Say 8. Third digit of the new number. 8. Continue down the diagonal of the entire list. 1 digit from each row. Change every digit. The result is a new number. And here is the crucial point. This new number differs from every number on the list. By construction, it differs from row 1 in the first digit. It differs from row 2 in the second digit. It differs from row 3 in the third digit. It differs from every row in at least 1 digit. It is not on the list. But we said the list was complete. And yet here is a real number that is not on it. Contradiction. The list cannot be complete. No list can ever be complete. The real numbers cannot be counted. They are more numerous than the natural numbers. A larger infinity. Cantor had proved it. There are at least 2 distinct sizes of infinity. The first, countable infinity. The infinity of the natural numbers. Mathematicians call this Aleph null. The second, uncountable infinity. The infinity of the real numbers. Vastly larger. Cannot be listed. 2 infinities. Neither one finite, but one undeniably provably larger than the other. And it does not stop at 2. Cantor proved that for any infinite set, you can always construct a strictly larger one. This means there is no largest infinity. There are infinitely many infinities, each one larger than the last, an infinite staircase of infinities, climbing forever. This is not purely abstract. Infinities appear throughout physics. Quantum field theory produces infinite answers that must be carefully managed. General relativity predicts singularities where the mathematics reaches infinity and breaks down. In computer science, the question of what can and cannot be computed connects directly to Cantor's diagonal argument. Here is what strikes me most about Cantor's discovery. We are finite creatures. Our lives last decades. And yet, a finite human mind, using nothing more than logic and a list of numbers, proved a theorem about the structure of infinity. Proved that some endless things are more endless than others. That is what mathematics is. The finite reaching into the infinite, and finding, to its own astonishment, that it can. One deep question remains unanswered. Between the countable infinity of the natural numbers and the uncountable infinity of the real numbers, is there another infinity in between? Cantor believed there was not. This became known as the Continuum Hypothesis. In 1963, it was proven that the Continuum Hypothesis can be neither proved nor disproved within standard mathematics. It is undecidable, a true mathematical mystery, still open today. Some infinities are larger than other infinities. A finite mind proved it. A hostile establishment attacked it, and mathematics was never the same again. If this changed how you see the universe, subscribe to Knowable. New science explainers every week. See you next time.